What if everything you thought was real isn't? Take a moment to look at your hand. It seems solid, right? You can see it. You can clench it into a fist. You can press it against your chest and feel the resistance. You can knock it on the table and hear the sound echo. It's there. It's real. It's you. But what if I told you that hand and everything you call you is almost entirely empty space? Not metaphorically, not spiritually, but physically. You, the chair you're sitting on, the ground beneath your feet, even the stars in the sky, they are made of atoms. And atoms, despite being the building blocks of matter, are almost completely hollow. In fact, 99.999999% of your body is not made of anything you can touch. It's space. Vast, invisible, buzzing space. If we could strip away the illusion of solidity and reduce all the atoms in your body to just their actual mass, you'd fit into a particle smaller than a grain of salt. The rest is nothing. This is not science fiction. It's quantum reality. So why do you feel solid? Why does the world look and feel real? What if the sensation of touch is just an illusion created by electromagnetic forces? What if what you call you, your body, your flesh, your presence, is just a beautifully engineered hologram made of nothing but dancing particles and space? And if that's true, if you are 99.99999% nothing, then what's left? What or who is actually you? That's the question we're about to explore. In the next chapters, we will go deep. We'll break down what atoms really are. We'll question the meaning of matter itself. We'll explore the paradox of a solid world made of emptiness. And we'll search for what's real in a reality built on illusion. Welcome to Hidden Truths. This is not just a science lesson. It's a journey to the edge of what it means to exist. Part 1. The Atom, a universe of nothingness. What do you think of when you hear the word atom? Maybe you imagine a tight cluster of particles, a nucleus in the middle, electrons orbiting like planets around a sun, packed tightly together to form the matter we know and touch. But that image, as familiar as it is misleading. Let's zoom in. Really, really close. So close that a single human hair becomes wider than the entire city of New York. Now, focus on just one atom inside that hair. It has a nucleus, a dense core made of protons and neutrons. Surrounding that, you'll find a cloud of electrons. But here's the thing. The electrons aren't orbiting like planets. They exist as probabilities, as waves of possibility. And the space between that nucleus and the electrons, it's massive. To understand the scale, imagine the nucleus of a hydrogen atom as a tiny grain of rice. The electron, by comparison, would be floating more than 2 football fields away. That's how empty an atom really is. If the entire atom were the size of a cathedral, the nucleus would be the size of a fly buzzing somewhere near the altar. The rest, from the front door to the ceiling to the pews, is empty space. But wait, it gets stranger. The mass of the atom, its weight, is almost entirely in the nucleus. The electrons are so light they barely register. So you're made of atoms, and those atoms are mostly empty space. And even the parts that aren't, the protons and neutrons, are made of quarks, which are themselves fluctuating energy states. So when you touch something, when you lean against a wall, when you hold someone's hand, what's really happening? not a collision between solids. It's a dance between fields. A silent interaction between invisible forces, pushing back, resisting, creating the illusion of contact. In truth, no two atoms have ever truly touched, not in the way we imagine. Everything you've ever touched, held, loved, you've never actually touched at all. Just electromagnetic fields brushing up against each other, like two ghosts passing in a crowded hallway. This is the paradox. Your body, seemingly firm, warm, and alive, is an arrangement of particles floating in nothing. You're built of emptiness, shaped by energy, held together by force fields. And yet, you are alive. You think, you feel, you move. You are the emptiest object in the room, and somehow the most real. Part 2. Why you feel solid. The illusion of touch and form. If your body is made of atoms, and atoms are mostly empty space, then why do you feel solid? Why can't your hand pass through a wall? Why don't you fall straight through the floor? To answer that, we need to abandon everything we think we know about touch. Because in reality, you've never actually touched anything in your life. Let's go back to basic physics. When you press your hand against a table, what you feel is not a physical surface pushing back. There are no atoms colliding, no matter slamming into matter. Instead, what's happening is electromagnetic repulsion. Electrons in the atoms of your hand are negatively charged. Electrons in the atoms of the table are also negatively charged. And, as we all know from high school physics, like charges repel. So when you get close enough, these two clouds of electrons push away from each other with immense force. That force is interpreted by your brain as pressure, or what you call touch. But nothing ever touches. It's the illusion of contact, not contact itself. Even when you sit on a chair, you're actually hovering, suspended just nanometers above the surface, held in place by invisible fields of force pushing back against the weight of your atoms. It's like magnets. Try pushing two like-pole magnets together. No matter how hard you try, they won't connect. That resistance you feel, that's the exact same principle acting all over your body all the time. Now multiply that resistance trillions of times across every atom in your skin, your organs, your bones, and you begin to understand why your body feels solid. But here's where it gets stranger. Your brain has no direct access to the outside world. It sits in a dark, silent chamber inside your skull. It has no eyes, no ears, no skin. All it has are electrical signals sent in by the nerves. So your sense of touch, pain, pleasure, even position are all constructed realities. The brain interprets incoming frequencies and creates sensations to help you navigate a world it can never truly access. So when you hug someone, when you feel the breeze on your face, when your fingers brush the skin of someone you love, you're not touching them. Your electrons are simply repelling theirs, and your brain decides that resistance means closeness. You live in a virtual simulation of solidity, coded by forces, decoded by neurons, and believed by consciousness. And that begs the question, if touch isn't real, if solidity is an illusion, if what you feel isn't what actually is, then how much of your experience is truth, and how much is beautiful fiction written by your own brain? Part 3. What is matter really? A hologram of energy and vibration. We've always been taught that matter is the stuff of the universe, solid, tangible, real. You sit on a chair, you hold a phone, You eat food, you hug a loved one. These are things, objects, matter. But quantum physics tells a different story, a much stranger one. Let's strip down matter to its core. Atoms are not solid spheres. They're mostly empty space, as we've established. Zoom in to the nucleus. You find protons and neutrons. Zoom further, and they dissolve into quarks, which behave not like particles, but like excitations in a field. That's right. At the deepest level, matter isn't made of stuff. It's made of energy patterns. Ripples, vibrations, waves in the quantum field. In fact, every particle you've ever heard of, electron, photon, proton, is simply a blip in a field that stretches across the universe. And that blip only appears as a particle when you observe it. Otherwise, it behaves like a wave, spreading out, uncertain, probabilistic. That's why physicist David Bohm once said, "Matter is frozen light." Think about that. If you take a photon, a particle of light, and slow it down, bend it, fold it into a standing wave, you get mass. Which means everything you see, your body, your bed, your books, is just energy dancing in place. So what is matter? It's vibration, organized into patterns. It's energy, held together by invisible forces. It's structure, created by harmony and frequency, like a hologram projected from code. In fact, some theories go further, suggesting the universe itself might be a holographic projection, where what we experience as space and things are simply 3D illusions encoded on a 2D surface beyond our comprehension. The more we investigate, the more it seems the chair you sit on isn't solid. The air you breathe isn't empty. Your body isn't made of matter. It's made of information. Form is illusion. Pattern is reality. And that brings us to the uncomfortable truth. You have never touched anything real, because nothing is truly real in the way we imagine. It's all fields, frequencies, movement, light, interpretation. And yet from this illusion, we build everything: relationships, homes, empires, identities. So if your body is a hologram, if matter is a pattern, what does that make you? Part 4. You never truly touch anyone. The electric barrier between souls. Close your eyes and think of the last time you held someone's hand. Maybe it was someone you love. Maybe it was the warmth of a child's fingers in yours. Or maybe it was the final grasp of a parent slipping away. That moment felt real, intimate, human, tangible. But physics tells us something far colder. You never actually touched them. Not once, not ever. The electrons in your hand and the electrons in theirs, both negatively charged, repelled each other with relentless force, like two invisible shields pushing back, refusing to let the atoms merge. What you felt wasn't skin. It was the electromagnetic resistance between your atoms and theirs. A force field, a barrier, an untouchable veil between two bodies. It gets more sobering. Even at the quantum level, particles behave in mysterious ways. They don't have defined positions until they're measured. They exist in probabilities, not certainties. You can't pinpoint where you end and they begin. So when you kiss someone, when you embrace them, when you rest your head against their chest, you're not merging, you're hovering. Electromagnetic fields push back, bouncing off each other, never allowing direct contact. The closer you get, the stronger the resistance. It's like the universe whispering, "You can come close, but never become one." This is the ultimate paradox of human connection. We long for closeness. We crave skin against skin, soul against soul. But our physical bodies are prisons of electromagnetic defense, each person sealed in a protective bubble of repelling electrons forever separate. Even in intimacy, we are alone. And yet, in this impossible arrangement, we love. We feel warmth. We comfort each other through veils we can't see, through barriers we can't break. Maybe the truest touch doesn't happen at the atomic level. Maybe what matters isn't particles colliding, but consciousness reaching out. Maybe the soul finds a way to connect where atoms never can. And if we are truly made of energy, then perhaps love is the force that bends those fields, warps those probabilities, and lets us believe, even for a moment, that we are not alone in this ocean of space. Part 5. The illusion of self. Where are you in your body? Look down at yourself. Your arms, your legs, your chest rising and falling, your skin, your heartbeat, your breath. It all feels you. But is it? If your body is made of atoms, and atoms are almost entirely empty space, then where exactly is the you that you claim ownership over? Is it your body, your brain, your thoughts? Let's investigate. First, your body is not constant. Cells die and regenerate. Skin flakes off, bones rebuild. Even the atoms in your brain are replaced over time. So if everything is changing, if none of your matter remains the same after 7 years, who's the you that stayed? Second, let's talk about the brain, often called the command center of self. But even the brain is not a solid structure. It is a network of electricity, chemistry, and electromagnetic patterns. It doesn't think, it responds. It processes data fed to it by nerves and senses and creates a story, a cohesive narrative you call me. But here's the catch. There is no central place in the brain where you live. Neuroscientists have searched in the hippocampus, in the prefrontal cortex, in the pineal gland, even in quantum theories of consciousness, but they've never found a place where the self resides. There is no control room, no tiny homunculus behind your eyes steering the ship. What you experience as you is an emergent phenomenon, a result of countless neurons firing, wiring, and building patterns from noise. It's a story told by the brain to itself. And now, the final blow. You don't control most of what your body does. Your heart beats without your permission. Your gut digests food without asking. Your lungs breathe on their own. Even your thoughts arise spontaneously, often before you consciously decide them. So again, where are you in all this? If you don't control your body, if your brain constructs your identity, if your atoms change constantly, then who or what is experiencing this moment right now? Could it be that the self is an illusion? That your name, your story, your identity is a convenient fiction written by biology to give order to chaos? But if so, why does it feel so real? Why do you feel joy, sorrow, hope, despair? Maybe because, like everything else in the universe, you are a pattern of energy, not fixed, not solid, not separate, but a field of awareness flowing through the form of a body, experiencing the illusion of solidity, while silently knowing that it is space. Part 6. If you're mostly empty, why do you matter? Let's pause and ask a painful question. If you are 99.999999% empty space, if your atoms never touch anything, if your body constantly regenerates and your identity is a story your brain tells itself, then do you really matter? Are you just a glitch in a vibrating field? A walking illusion in a universe that doesn't care? The thought is dizzying, terrifying even. But here's where things get beautiful. Because despite being made of almost nothing, you are not nothing. Yes, you are empty space, but space is not meaningless. Space is potential. The empty parts of you are where energy flows, where light dances, where vibration carries thought, emotion, consciousness. A violin is mostly empty, but inside that emptiness, music is born. A cathedral is hollow by design, but in that hollowness, echoes become sacred. A light bulb only shines because the vacuum inside allows the filament to glow undisturbed. So maybe your emptiness is not a flaw, but a feature. Maybe you matter not despite being made of space, but because of it. Think of it this way. Every emotion you've ever felt, love, grief, awe, wonder, arose from a structure that's almost entirely nothing. But within that emptiness, something moves. You, your awareness, your choices, your ability to look at the stars and ask, why? That ability, that questioning, that spark, that's what makes you matter. Not your atoms, not your density, not your weight, but your existence within the illusion. Because here's the twist. The universe itself is 99.99999% empty space. Galaxies are scattered like grains of sand in a vast black ocean, yet we call it beautiful, majestic, sacred. Why? Because even the smallest star, flickering in the void, matters. It changes the sky. So maybe the point isn't what you're made of. Maybe the point is what you do with what you're made of. You are a ripple in a sea of nothing, but you create meaning. You love, you grieve, you hope, you fight, you wonder. And in doing so, you prove that emptiness is not the absence of value. It's the canvas on which value is drawn. Part 7. The edge of reality. Are you just a simulation in a structured void? What if everything you believe to be real is not just empty space, but simulated empty space? That's not a science fiction question anymore. It's one of the most serious hypotheses debated in physics and cosmology today. Here's the idea. If reality is made of particles that behave like code, if matter is vibration, if observation collapses probability into form, then what separates reality from a program? In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed the simulation argument. He suggested that if civilizations ever reach a point where they can simulate conscious beings inside computers, and they run enough of those simulations, then the odds are overwhelming that we are living in one of them. Let that sink in. If future humans can create realistic, conscious simulations, and if they create millions or billions of them, then statistically, the odds that we're not inside one become almost zero. And that theory starts to make chilling sense. Electrons behave like probabilities until observed. Time is not absolute. It stretches, bends, even freezes near gravity. Space is curved, not static. Particles pop in and out of existence in vacuum energy, like pixels refreshing on a screen. Reality is not analog. It's quantized, discrete, pixelated, just like a simulation. Even the constants of physics, like the speed of light or Planck's constant, could be the hard-coded rules of a cosmic engine. And you? You, made of empty atoms and flickering fields, might be a conscious subroutine in a vast, unknowable system. Just like an avatar in a video game doesn't know its inside code, you might not know you're in the Matrix. But here's the strange twist. If it's all simulated, your experience is still real. Your pain, your memories, your choices, they affect the system. They ripple outward. They matter. Because in a simulation or not, consciousness is the glitch, the thing that cannot be explained, copied, or fully simulated. It is the part that transcends code. So maybe you are in a simulation. Maybe not. But if you are, then you're the part that's aware of it. You are the moment the program wakes up and begins to ask, what is this place? Who wrote this code? What am I meant to do here? And that moment of questioning is where the simulation ends and conscious existence begins. Part 8. You are not inside the universe. The universe is inside you. We spend our whole lives believing we are in the universe, moving through time and space. Tiny creatures on a rock, circling a star, lost in an endless cosmic ocean. But what if that's backwards? What if you are not inside the universe? What if the universe is inside you? This isn't poetry, it's physics. Let's start with the building blocks. Every atom in your body, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, was born in the heart of a star, forged in stellar furnaces billions of years ago, then scattered across space in massive explosions, drifting for eons until they became you. You are literally made of stars, not metaphorically, literally. But it goes deeper. You contain over 37 trillion cells, each one a living, breathing universe of complexity, each with DNA coiled like galactic spirals, encoding billions of instructions. Inside your brain are 86 billion neurons, each firing, networking, processing reality in patterns that mirror the structure of galaxies. That's not coincidence. That's fractal design. From the swirl of a fingerprint, to the swirl of a hurricane, to the swirl of a galaxy, patterns repeat. The micro reflects the macro. So when you look out at the stars, you are seeing yourself projected outward. Not only are you made of the universe, you are the universe becoming aware of itself. And here's the twist. According to quantum mechanics, reality isn't fully real until it's observed. That means without your awareness, the universe stays in a fog of probabilities, unresolved, unshaped, undefined. It is your consciousness that collapses the wave, that gives the world form, meaning, direction. So you're not a passive observer. You're an active participant in the creation of reality. You are not in the universe like a pebble in a pond. You are the conscious eye through which the universe sees itself. You are the lens through which it learns, dreams, and evolves. And suddenly, emptiness isn't emptiness. Space isn't distance. You are not separate. You are woven into everything. Every moment, every particle, every possibility. So the next time you look out at the night sky and feel small, remember, you are not looking at the universe. You are experiencing yourself from another angle. Part 9. Light, Vibration, and the Code of Reality. Are you just frequency in form? Everything vibrates. From the smallest subatomic particle to the edge of the expanding universe, vibration is the language of reality. Even when something seems still, it's humming beneath the surface. At the quantum level, particles are not particles. They are waves of probability, dancing through invisible fields. Which means you are not solid. You are not static. You are a symphony, a composition of frequency and rhythm. Let's break it down. Light. What is light? It's not just illumination. It's a messenger. Light carries information. It defines what's visible. It creates color, shape, contrast. And according to Einstein, mass and energy are interchangeable. E equals mc squared. So matter, everything you call solid, is just condensed light, slowed down, bent into form. You are literally frozen light, shaped into skin and thought. Vibration. Every cell in your body resonates. Your heart has a beat. Your brain has brain waves. Your atoms vibrate at specific frequencies. And the universe? It vibrates too. Physicists now talk about string theory, where particles are not points, but vibrating loops of energy. What makes a particle electronic or quark-like isn't its size or color, but its frequency. Change the frequency, change the particle. Change the particle, change the reality. That's the secret hidden in plain sight. Vibration is identity. So who are you? You're a pattern of frequencies held together by intention, shaped by perception. You are not a name, not a face, not a fixed thing. You are a waveform, constantly shifting, adapting, pulsing. That's why music moves you, why silence heals, why words can cut or comfort, because everything is vibration. Even your emotions, anger, joy, fear, peace, have measurable frequencies. They radiate, they affect the field around you. You are not isolated. You are an emitter, a receiver, a tuning fork of energy. And now, let's stretch it further. What if these vibrations are not random? What if they are part of a code? Like binary in a computer, like DNA in a cell, like sheet music in a symphony. Some scientists now suggest the universe itself is built on information, that space and matter are not things, but expressions of encoded rules. You, then, are not a body in space. You are a manifestation of information, structured vibration moving through space-time. You are not the result of chaos. You are an intentional frequency shaped by the same principles that give rise to galaxies. And here's the most haunting question of all. If everything is vibration, then what is tuning you? What hand turned the dial? What consciousness wrote the code? What purpose gives your waveform meaning? The answers may lie beyond physics, in the realm of philosophy, faith, or mystery. But one thing is certain: you are not noise. You are a note. a perfect resonance echoing through the infinite, singing the song of being, one silent frequency at a time. Part 10. The final paradox. You are empty, therefore you are infinite. We've come full circle. We began with a disturbing truth, that your body, this thing you rely on, this home of your identity, is made of atoms, and atoms are almost entirely empty space. At first, that sounds terrifying. It feels like a threat, like the floor beneath your existence is vanishing. But what if it's not a threat? What if it's a doorway? Let's look deeper. You are 99.99999% empty, but so is everything else. And that emptiness isn't absence, it's freedom. A solid object can't pass through another, but a field can flow, a wave can ripple, a vibration can stretch across galaxies. That's the paradox. Because you are empty, you are not confined. Because you are not solid, you are not stuck. Your body is a temporary expression of energy. Your thoughts are vibrations moving through fields. Yourself is a frequency pattern, dynamic, adaptable, evolving. Which means you are not a thing. You are potential. And potential, by definition, has no edge. It can grow, change, expand, reinvent itself. You are not bound by the limits of mass. You are the architecture of possibility. Emptiness is space. Space is canvas. Canvas is where the masterpiece begins. So maybe the truth is this: you are not small. You are not fragile. You are not meaningless. You are open, spacious, infinite. You are a doorway through which awareness enters the universe, a conduit for light to learn what it means to be seen, a reflection of the cosmos, curious enough to ask why. And in a world of illusions, where touch is force, matter is energy, and the self is a story, the only real thing is that you are here, aware and wondering. And that is everything. Final summary. You were never what you thought you were. You were taught to believe in solidity, that your body is real, that the world is made of things, that you walk on solid ground, breathe solid air, live inside a solid form. But from the very beginning of this journey, we asked a single, unsettling question. What if none of that is true? In part 1, we peeled back the first layer, the atom. What you think of as a particle is mostly space. If your body were compressed down to its actual stuff, it would be smaller than a grain of sand. And yet, you feel real. In part 2, we shattered the illusion of touch. You've never actually touched anything. Not your phone, not a doorknob, not the hand of a loved one. The feeling of contact is an illusion crafted by electromagnetic repulsion and decoded by your brain. Your entire experience of the world is a force field performance. Part 3 dared us to redefine matter itself. We are not things, we are vibrations, energy, standing waves in invisible fields. You are not flesh, but frequency, not weight, but wavelength. And then in part 4, we stepped into emotion. If we never truly touch one another, what does that say about human connection? We ache to be close, to break through the walls of isolation. Yet even at the most intimate level, our atoms refuse to merge. Still, we love, we comfort. Something beyond physics is trying to reach across the void. In Part 5, we looked inward, into the myth of the self. If your body changes, your atoms shift, your thoughts arise spontaneously, then what remains? Where is you? What you find is not a person sitting behind the curtain, but a process, a flowing, changing, emergent phenomenon, a story being told by the brain to itself. In Part 6, we asked, if you're mostly empty, do you even matter? And the answer was simple but profound. Yes, not in spite of your emptiness, but because of it. Emptiness allows light to pass through, sound to echo, awareness to expand. You are the cathedral, not the statue inside it. You are not solid. You are space with purpose. Then in Part 7, we took a cosmic detour. What if this entire reality is a simulation? If particles behave like programmed code and nothing becomes real until it's observed, are you not just an avatar in a beautifully constructed system? But even if so, you are the glitch that wakes up, the line of code that becomes aware it's code. You are the observer that collapses the wave into form. Then in Part 8, we went further. You are not in the universe is in you. Your atoms were born in stars. Your body mirrors galaxies. Your brain's neurons mirror cosmic webs. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm, the universe contemplating itself in human form. And Part 9 delivered the key. Everything is vibration. Light, matter, thought, emotion, all of it is frequency. You are not fixed. You are not frozen. You are a waveform in motion, expressing the code of reality in the language of resonance. And finally, in Part 10, we uncovered the final paradox. Because you are empty, you are infinite. Your lack of solidity is not your weakness, it's your liberation. Solid things break, solid things decay, but you are fluid, adaptable, boundless. You are the space in which possibility lives. You are not your body, you are not your name, you are not the stories you were told. You are awareness. Riding waves of light and electricity, nested in fields of probability, woven into a universe that is mostly space. And now that you know, now that you've glimpsed what you truly are, not flesh, not dust, not bone, but energy, awareness, vibration, what will you do with that knowledge? Will you keep clinging to the illusion of solidity, or will you start living like the infinite space you were born to be? You are not small. You are not insignificant. You are not solid. And that is your greatest power.